I've had the good fortune of traveling the Subic Bay since the early 1980s, first as a military member and then later on as a civilian, just coming back and visiting some of my old stomping grounds, and thought I'd share with you some of the old photos I've had as well as some of the new stuff I've seen most recently in terms of what the base looks like. So come on along. All right, for folks who've never been here to Subic Bay, or for folks who it's been a while since you've been back, I'll orient you a little bit here in terms of the two different facilities that are on the Subic Bay Freeport Zone now. One is the former Naval Air Station, QB Point. We've got a separate video on that. And then the one we're going to talk about today is the former Subic Bay Naval Station, now called the Subic Bay Freeport Zone. And we'll talk about that. That handled all of the ships and sailors that were forward deployed to the Western Pacific. So I picked a location up here in a parking lot for an SM Mall that used to be the Marmont Bar and Hotel, which was right across from the former Navy base here. The SM Mall you'll see here on the photo is right next to the drainage canal, which we used to refer to lovingly as Poop River. It was called, we used some another term, but anyway, that's the river you see before you. And it used to be just pretty much for foot traffic. However, you can see here in the photos, the video, that there's a modern bridge there now, and it actually has a lot of vehicle traffic back and forth. And to help orient you a little bit, here are a couple of maps. The first one is the original U.S. Navy base map of Subic Bay. And then the second one is the more updated version, calling it the Subic Bay Freeport Zone. And it shows more of the local attractions that are now on the base. And not that I'm giving any hotel reviews or any endorsements or anything, but this Aurora Subic Hotel, we're spending a couple of days here while we reconnoiter the place, is definitely in a nice spot. The top floor has just a fantastic view of the whole base and frankly the Longapo area. So if you can stomach, I think I got it on a Agoda for $65 a night. If you can stomach that, yeah, it's a good deal, and the views are not to be beaten for around here. Yeah, pretty sure here was the old base chapel. So I'm gonna go check inside, see if it is the original one from back in the day. So this is the old Naval Station Chapel. I attended a few times here in the 80s. All right, the ladies just informed me too that this the grounds here has always been part of the church, even when the Navy was around back in the day. So there was no building here; it was just this open courtyard area. I'm sure they had different ceremonies and the like here over the years. And I forget if this was like a multi-denominational chapel that was for Catholics, Protestants, Presbyterian, and all that stuff. So, but yeah, you can see some of the arrangements are still the same. Right, and they've got a little tribute statue here to Mayor Gordon, and I actually got to meet him back in 1986, I think it was, 1986, 87. Yeah, very nice gentleman. He pretty much ran Longapo as far as the city. I think he was originally the mayor, but I think he became a governor later on. But yeah, very influential here in terms of his working with the U.S. Navy. Now, this monument wasn't here when the Navy was here. There was something else. I'm trying to remember what was here in this little park area here. Got a little pavilion. That's obviously been there for quite some time. And I'm going to try to match up some of this stuff with old photos, see if I can't figure out what's what. But this spot has been here for a while. It's right across from the church. So it's on the intersection of Rojas and Dewey Street. So I'll try to figure that out. Again, there's the old chapel I just viewed a little while ago across the street. That's been there forever. So that's always a good landmark here in the Philippines because they will not move a church. They, unless it's some natural catastrophe, but that church has been there forever. So that's a pretty good landmark. And there was something else out here. Obviously, this tree's been here a long time. You can see from the curbing. Well, I'm trying to figure out what the Navy had back in the day here. So, yeah, I'll try to figure that out here in a bit. And on the opposite side of this park, facing the beach, is what's currently called the Admiral's Club. Now, it's abandoned, but I believe back in the day when the Navy had the base, it was VIP housing of some sort because it has a nice view of the beach area. So you'll see a couple photos of that here. If we head southwest on Dewey Boulevard, past the church, you're going to wind up hitting the old base library and theater, which is on the left. So over here, we've got what they're trying to create is the Longapo Museum. And I'm trying to remember what this was. I think this was the library building. I remember it wasn't too far from the chapel, which is to my left here. But the archway here, it's been here a long time. And obviously they've renovated the building. You can see some renovation going on, but the front facade is still the old facade. If you go all the way to the end of Dewey Boulevard, it ends in a T. And at that crossroad, you will see the oldest artifact on the base, and it's called the Spanish Gate. Now, the old West Gate here has been here forever. This dates back, I believe, to the time of the Spanish. Yeah, here we go. So, obviously predates the Navy. So this goes back as far as, so Spanish. So pre-1899, which is when the U.S. essentially occupied the Philippines. 1899, and the Spanish garrison was here. And of course, 1899, the U.S. Navy took over, and over time built the base here in Longapo, and of course, then it was occupied by the Japanese. And I can't remember what was back here. I mean, the gate's been here forever. I forgot what used to be in the back here. I forgot it was a restaurant or something. Again, back in the day, I'm dating myself. So. Again, back in the day, I'm dating myself. So, a bunch of little buildings here and there. Some of these things look like they've been around a while, like this building. I couldn't tell what it was back in the day. Again, I'm going to have to do some research. And that building looks pretty new over here. We'll take a look at that. And you can kind of see from construction here, there's a frame lining here, which would have essentially been the stop for the upper, I'm imagining, wooden gate that was here back in the day. And then there's some, looks like might have been some hinge points here along the side where the gate would have swung back and forth. I'm guessing it swung inwards based on where that lip is at here. So yeah, definitely Spanish styled for sure, the architecture. And heading north from the Spanish Gate on Sampson Road, you'll see what used to be the old Navy Exchange is now called the Freeport Exchange, and it looks like it's seen better days. It was definitely closed on the times that we've been there. All right, this was, I believe, the old Navy Exchange, based on the location of the big parking lot out in front. And clearly they turned it into the Exchange, the Freeport Exchange. But yeah, I think the combination of Mount Pinatubo and just years of not being in use just caused it to lose its luster. So Well, as we move further east across the base, we get to the compound where I used to work at, which was the former Naval Special Warfare Unit 1 area. So since the 1960s, when Navy SEALs were first deployed to Vietnam, and right up until the Navy departed Subic Bay in 1992, all West Coast SEALs who participated in a Western Pacific cruise or Westpac cruise, we would be forward deployed to Subic Bay, and specifically based out of Naval Special Warfare Unit 1. And from there, we'd go out on different operations throughout Southeast Asia during the duration of our cruise. And then returning back to our home base, which would be here in the Philippines on Subic Bay. And we do little local training operations there, as you'll see in some of these photos. Somewhere right around this area used to be a skeet range back in the day. I'll throw the picture up here so you can see that. It's here on Subic Bay. And this is the old Naval Special Warfare compound area here. A little grinder out here. I don't remember any of these buildings being here. This one to the right here, this is definitely new. But the pier was out this way. We had a little dock and we had our boats tied up out here. Like I said, this has changed quite a bit over the years. Again, adding things as they go along to make it more tourist friendly. Yeah, if my memory serves me right, the quarterdeck for NSW, Naval Special Warfare Unit 1, was right over here. And this housed the forward command here for Special Warfare in Far East here in Subic. Yeah, this was the old ramp area was over here. Very nice little patio though. And this was over here to the right is the mouth of what we used to call, I'll be indelicate here, but this was called Shit River. It used to flow from around Longapo this way and then come underneath and empty here in the bay. And of course, right here at the mouth of it was the Naval Special Warfare Unit ramp, boat ramp. It's probably this same location, probably. Back here in the back, and there used to be, you can imagine in the day, there used to be just a single pier here, and then we had our boats tied up. None of this yacht club stuff was here back in those days. Yeah, pretty interesting. It's how some things change and some things remain the same. So I guess it's building, the old building was 1031. If I could look that up someplace. Where's the compound? Take a little walk around back here. If memory serves me, in the back here, there really wasn't, again, there wasn't a boatyard in the back here. This was the compound, and there was, I want to say there was platoon spaces back here. We had basically places where the platoon could set up and get ready to go out on missions and gear up and stuff, so we would be back here. Wow. Again, I'm just looking for little remnants of stuff that may still be around. Some old, again, I don't know how old that is, but it looks old. Fill station for something. Wash sink. Another little view in the backside of the old Naval Special Warfare Unit. Parking lot area. And now looks like an old boatyard, boat shop. And of course, have a little bait shop here down by the marina. And they've got these cruises. You can rent boats and stuff out here too. So. And now we'll turn around and head back towards the pier side of the naval station. And this is where the ships used to dock when they came into port here at Subic. And, of course, the ships would get refitted and resupplied here at the naval station, as well as providing a little bit of liberty to sailors that had been cooped up at sea for a long time, letting them get out onto the town of Olongapo. So, again, this is that pier area I was mentioning earlier. It's pretty darn long. So, again, that reminds me of something that would accommodate deep draft naval vessels. And that was what's unusual about Philippines, was that the Navy had dredged this out so that they could, in fact, bring in deep draft, basically warships, and then tie it along the quay wall here, and obviously resupply, and the troops can get out and do their R&R. And the nice little park here, which has got a lot of little kids out here. Looks like high school kids out here playing. They've added quite a few little schools here. I noticed there was a Montessori college. As you're coming in the main bridge entrance. The most distinctive feature about Subic Bay was its ability to service any size of U.S. naval vessel, whether it be a carrier all the way down to a small destroyer. The facility was renowned for its ability to be able to work on and retrofit all these types of ships. And you can see from the photos here, it was quite an extensive complex. Come to today, all of that is gone, and what now is left is space where they have put up hotels and some other parking lot areas to basically reclaim that. And this looks like the old pier area where the big ships, the carriers, and the deep draft Navy ships would tie up at, if I'm not mistaken. I'm down at I guess this would be the north end of the island, or of the base. So there's more pier out this way. So it's really interesting as you walk around here on the former naval base, now Subic Freeport Zone, is how many of the old structures are in place and how many new ones they built. Now this one, I for the life of me, I'll have to look it up in terms of what this building was. It looks old enough to be former military, former Navy. I'll have to do a little bit of checking. It was the Subic International Hotel, but looks like that went out of business. Slated for demolition. And another building over here. Now this one definitely looks like an old barracks complex. My old barracks was around here. God, it's been so long though, I can't recall. It looks similar to this one. I remember we had the open stairwells on the side. This is very, very much designed in a military fashion here. Oh, wala. Salamat. Yeah, so interesting. Well, folks, thanks for letting me take you down memory lane here. And if you get the opportunity, please come to Subic Bay and definitely check it out. The history is very interesting with regards to what's still left on the base. Keep in mind that in 1991, this base was covered literally under volcanic ash. And since that time, the people in the Philippines, specifically in Olongapo, have done their best to try to rehab or rebuild buildings on this facility. It's not cheap. And hopefully down the road, they'll have the opportunity to have more infrastructure built on the former base. So, but with that said, I wish you all a great day. Well, as always, thanks for watching, folks. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you want. And as we say in the Philippines, ingat lang ang tao. And bye for now.